that's exactly what it is. Only a theory. But for my fellow believers who also have a scientific background like myself, I have a theory that relates sin and entropy. Stick with me really quickly. For those of you who are not believers, this video might be interesting to you as well. If you don't know, entropy is a term that I learned in chemistry. You also learn about it in physics, but it's the term that references chaos or the state of disorder. And it basically says that the universe tends toward a state of chaos, tends towards more disorder rather than order. And the reason why I say that it was placed on my heart, the relationship between sin and entropy, is based on the creation story. Now, if we go back to the book of Genesis, after God created the heavens, the earth, everything in them, he created man, created woman from man, and he commanded the man not to eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil and the tree of life that was in the Garden of Eden. Eve went ahead and ate of the fruit, and when she enticed her husband Adam to eat of the fruit, both of them had sinned. They fell short of God's grace. They did exactly what he commanded them not to do. And when God found out about it, he punished the man, the woman, and the earth. I know for a fact that I've read the creation story tons of times since I was a child. I've skipped over the fact that in addition to punishing Adam and Eve for their disobedience, God also punished the earth. He even said in Genesis chapter 3, verse 18, in verse 17, it says, to Adam, because you listened to your wife and ate from the tree about which I commanded you, you must not eat from it. Cursed is the ground because of you. Through painful toil, you will eat food from it all the days of your life. It will produce thorns and thistles for you, and you will eat the plants of the field. By the sweat of your brow you will eat your food until you return to the ground, since from it you were taken, for dust you are, and to dust you will return. I don't think I ever really considered that because of Adam and Eve's sin, even the earth was cursed. Now, taking a step back, I believe that everything that God created was perfect. Everything was in order. There were I don't believe that at that time there were any diseases. I don't believe at that time there were anything wrong with the ground, anything at all. Everything was perfect. And it was because of sin that now everything is no longer perfect. As soon as sin entered the picture, here you are. Entropy enters the mix. And now, since then, everything has tended toward a state of disorder, towards chaos. But again, my faith is firm in believing that God, who once created everything in order, can bring even chaos back into order. And that's exactly what's going to happen after this entire simulation passes and his son Jesus returns to take us home. Now, I also believe that this is the reason why I considered for a while when I was a child, when I was younger in my faith, why is it that in the past people tended to marry relatives, be it a first cousin, a second cousin, brother, father? Why do we not see it written in biblical text that children that came from these types of unions had mental disorders or learning disorders and disabilities and things like that? I believe that at the time of Adam and Eve, ever since everything was perfect, that's when we started to accumulate the mutations or damage to DNA in our cells that now lead to the diseases that we see. I also believe that might be something that explains why we're seeing even more diseases, illnesses, and things like that that we haven't seen before. We're seeing them at higher rates. Autism, for instance, cancers and things like that. We're seeing them at higher rates, and we're seeing diseases that we haven't even heard about or have been recorded about in the past. It's because I believe that we're accumulating more mutations, more DNA damage, again, entropy. the universe, including everything that's happening in our bodies, in our cells, at the cellular level, everything is tending towards chaos and disorder, which means more mutations, which means more diseases, rapid rates of diseases, and things like that. And so, when that was placed on my heart, it was like a mind blowing moment for me because I never considered that one would support the other. I don't think that I know everything. In fact, the more I learn, the more I realize that I don't know anything at all. The more I learn about God, and the more I consider how great He is, I recognize and am able to stay in my place and know that I don't know much at all. And so I do believe, though, that the more you study science, the more you dig deeper and you walk with Christ, I believe that the more you realize that you don't know anything at all. And this is just something that was revealed to me that makes sense to me. I'm not sure if it makes sense to anyone else, but I do believe that there is a relationship that exists between sin and entropy, and that this entire world, as we know it, will continue towards chaos and disorder until God comes back and reinstates the order, the perfection that once was. But I did want to just hop on here really quickly and put this out there because I'm not sure if very many of us have considered the possibility that science doesn't disprove the existence of God, nor does God disprove that science is real. One supports the other. And I do believe that they are very much so interconnected. And so for those of you who don't believe in God, I hope that this makes sense to you, that at one point everything was perfect. And if you believe in entropy and you believe that we're tending towards chaos and disorder, that might explain why we have so many diseases. That might explain why there are so many more mutations, DNA damage and such that's happening even at the cellular level. It's happening in the entire universe, and we are part of the universe, and so it makes sense. But I did just want to hop on here and share that with you all. But I will end this video here, and I do hope that you come back to watch more.